The intended use of this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the host and guests independently, and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Updog Challenge Incorporated, its sponsors, or any other partnered organizations. Updog Challenge Incorporated does not guarantee the accuracy or reliability of any opinions expressed. In no way should the information provided during the Sweet Spot and Updog podcast be considered veterinary, medical, legal, or professional advice. At all times, the advice of your personal professional should supersede any information provided, derived, or inferred from listening to this podcast.
Ready, set, go.
Welcome to the Sweet Spot, an Updog podcast. I'm Andrea Morissette.
And I'm Jack Bailey, and we have a special episode that we are bringing to you, not on a Tuesday morning. We wanted to bring this one to you right away because it is time sensitive. As you can see, we've got a couple extra folks along the for us for this episode. I've got Kat next to us.
Hello.
And we've got Bryan Batchelder on
Hello.
the other window there. For those of you that don't know, Bryan is a team member of Updog, and he is the man behind all of our web stuff and technology and just all the good things that keep Updog moving in the background. So specifically, Kat, why did we want Bryan to come on and talk to us?
We wanted Bryan to tell us about all the cool stuff he's been doing lately, in particular related to UPDIF registration for 2026 UPDIF.
All right. Well, Bryan, take it away. I already see on the screen here something that looks new and interesting and pretty cool. I like the colorings. Talk to us.
Yeah, so the Updog team site was originally written back in 2015, 2014, somewhere around there. A lot has changed in the software development world, and frankly, the old site's been a pain to work in and maintain, and especially add new functionality to it. Wasn't especially mobile friendly, etc. So decided to take the time to rewrite it, especially wanting to have it in place for this season's UPDIF registration. So what I'd like to do is basically do a quick walkthrough of the new team site, and then walk through an example UPDIF registration so people can see how it works. I guess any of you feel free to stop and interrupt me if you have any questions.
Definitely.
Yeah. So this probably sometime tomorrow. Well, obviously sometime tomorrow before noon, because that's when registration opens. This will be what comes up when you go to teams.updogchallenge.com. The longer term vision is to actually just have this be the site that comes up when you just go to updogchallenge.com and take a lot of the content and functionality from what's always been historically a separate marketing website and just have one cohesive integrated website. But anyways, so this is the homepage. It's still very similar to the old one, at least initially. So we have some interesting stats here as far as the total number of points earned for all time across all teams, total number of achievements, how many teams we've got, etc. A little explanation here about what's going on. Some content here for people who aren't familiar with Updog, who happen to find their way to this site, and then a somewhat familiar blurb about registering for Updog, but we'll get to that later. For right now, I'm actually going to impersonate someone, which is a feature that the old site even had, and it's really a way for us, primarily Kat and myself, to use the site as another user so that if they're having problems, we can see it firsthand. So here we can do that. I'll pick Heidi. Impersonate her. And so now this is what Heidi would see when she logs in to the website. So this is the new like My Teams dashboard. There's some filtering up here. So by default, it's only going to show you teams that you are an owner of. If you have shared dogs with anyone, then you're likely going to have some member teams. So you can bring those up by showing that, or you can even just only see the member teams. We also have some filtering here by the type of team. So if you only want to see like your standard teams, you can do that. If you want to bring in teams that aren't activated yet, why aren't they activated? You can do that. And then the sorting here, the default, the intent is to be most recently competed, but that's broken at the moment. Hopefully that'll get fixed before it goes live. But here's some other options here, like, most points, etc. So if you have a lot of teams, it's an easy way to find the ones that you want. Creating competitors and creating teams, I actually haven't implemented yet. I will probably do that before this goes live. I'm not too worried about adding that functionality. We tackled a lot of the much more complicated functionality prior to that. And honestly, that's one of those things where I'm probably just going to re-implement something very similar to what the old site has, but with the desire to make it a much friendlier process in the not too distant future. So some of the other pages that people typically go to. So the events list page. So it's a little bit friendlier of a layout, especially if you're on mobile, which I think if I change the size of the screen, it might mess up the recording. But if you are on a mobile device, it shrinks down much nicer and starts stacking, so you don't have to like scroll horizontally to see things. You can search by the name, you can break down by year and month, and then there's this concept that has always existed behind the scenes, but was never really surfaced, which is the concept of series. So generally, there's a series for the year, which every game or every event that happened in that year is a part of. And then I've created like UPDIF series, where only events that are part of UPDIF are a member of that series, and then things like Bike Club, etc. So this is one of those things where I hope we use it a bit more in the future. We can also have the concept of like series specific achievements and things like that. So that's something coming a little more in the future. But here, like, you can see all of last year's UPDIF events. You can go into it. This is still kind of a similar layout as the legacy site, just maybe a little prettier. Yeah, nothing too crazy here. Now, if you're an admin, which I'll stop impersonating Heidi here and go look at that, there's some extra functionality that's unlocked. So one here is behind the scenes, and this is what we started using at the last UPDIF to be able to handle the large number of runs and still be able to get like the ties broken and the data into the presentations and things like that. We built a bunch of tools into the site to help manage and detect when there's ties. So you can see here it's showing all green. There's no critical ties, meaning there's no ties in any placements that we recognize, but there's 185 like non-critical ties. So if we go into that, we can see here, for instance, four-way play level 1. Down here, you can see it's identified several ties for 14th place. If those happen more up here, they would show up in red, and this would be how we would know like to have a throw-off done before people leave the field. And it's actually uses the built-in rules of the game to break ties automatically. So these are obviously tied by points, but this one got third because there were fewer catches in zone 3 versus this team, or more missed catches here, etc. So it already implements tiebreaker logic. And then if there really is a tie, it's easy enough to do a throw off and then come in here and indicate who won it. And then that sets the placement. And then it can be sorted by division, etc. So this was a huge help last year and will continue to be in future UPDIFs. Um, go back to being Heidi. So now the team search. If you just go to the team's like list page here, the search page, it's going to show you the teams by who's most recently competed. And now we're showing some decent stats. This is the same sort of card that you would see in your dashboard of teams. But the search is a lot nicer now. So before it would be difficult to search if you just knew. Then, like, if you wanted to search by the name of the human and the dog, so for instance, like Ben and Worm, so this is going to find all the teams where Ben is a part of the name of either the human or canine competitor. Same with Worm. It also does that same search in the name of the team. So it's basically searching the name of the team and the individual competitors as well. So if we go in here now, so now here's the new sort of team page. Have some nice stats up here. This one's new to highlight how long people have been competing. This is new, this sort of activity visualization that's showing you essentially 52 squares in the year and how many, like each row is a year. So you can see how often and when this team seems like they don't seem to play January, February, March, etc.
That's really cool.
Just
You
scatter
can see
plot.
outliers.
Yeah. Any other sort of software developers or techies will immediately identify this as something that came from like GitHub, but it works well. Works well here. You can see all of your achievements. There's a slightly new feature here where achievements can be annotated. So what I did is, for instance, Ben and Worm, they got invited for Boom because they podiumed. Well, actually, what this is showing is the 3 different ways that they got an invite, right? So they were number 4 in the Maxi division. They had the number 1 average of best 3 scores for level 1, and then they also were 14th for cumulative. So they got that invite like 3 different ways. So that's a feature that we'll start using a
What
little
a
bit.
show off.
Right. Well, there's a few people that I've seen that have like four different ways they've gotten an invite. So again, this is very similar to the old site. So now we're seeing like the events of the team. Other than just some layout and some like color changes, one of the big changes here that might throw people off is I inverted the percentile rank. So instead of saying you're in the top 95%, or excuse me, that you're in the 95th percentile, this is actually making it a little more intuitive of saying you're in the top, like this score is in the top 5% of scores.
Yeah, that's really cool, actually.
So it's just, it'll throw people off because it's literally inverting what was being shown previously, but I think this is more intuitive. Right now, it's only showing the most recent scores. I'll be changing this to either have numbers so you can page through them, or just like the old site, show all of them until I think of a better way to lay this out. Which, there's just a wealth of information here. It can be overwhelming. So I don't know if like maybe having tabs for each game and then the event listing, I've got to think about it, but at least this is, it's much more mobile friendly, the layout here too. You can still generate certificates for, our partners that have titles that recognize these things. So like, for instance, you can click on the gold up here and say, hey, generate this certificate. It'll go off and do that. Oh, since I'm Heidi and I'm looking at Ben and Worm, I really shouldn't be able to generate a certificate for them. So I can look at one of Heidi's teams to demo that. One thing that is kind of cool here, though, is if you've earned something multiple times, you can then pick which one of these do you want to memorialize. Which we've talked about like allowing people to earn multiple instances of like unobtainium, so that would then let them print up another certificate saying, yeah, here's my double unobtainium, triple unobtainium, etc. So here now in the UPDIF qualification, tried to make this a more visually appealing page. So now we've got all the game logos. If they're um, like the opacity is out on they're dimmed, you didn't qualify for them. And then if you were invited, meaning you placed or you met, were in like the top 15 for the cumulative or average, we show the invite badge on here. And then in the table view of it, we show you the actual like reasons why you were invited here. So you can see again, yeah, you can see here for four-way play, they got in four different ways. Obviously,
I will
this
say
is
Heidi is very nosy, like going in and like looking at Ben's stuff, you know.
No.
Keep that
uh,
later to Heidi.
the other thing, other thing too, is like the way of viewing the cumulative and average leaderboards is still there. And for instance, this site makes a little more clear when there's ties. So now you can see 1 through 14, but there's 2 15 places. And that's because Steve and Hoopla tied with Ali and Zeus at 120 points. So they both get in. So in this case, if you're in the 15th up, if you're 1 through 15 of cumulative, you'll get in. It's actually letting 16 people in because 2 teams tied it at 15th.
It's good for people to know. Cool.
One thing that's missing, and I'm not sure if it'll be there for Go Live, is the games menu item. But I don't think that'll be a showstopper, but that'll be something I'll be adding relatively soon. One thing that is new though is achievements. And so this is every achievement in the system. And it also lists the criteria. So like for instance, Fizzle, score exactly 0 points. Score between 12 and 19 points with all rollers. So it's telling you the criteria. Now, some of the criteria, or some of the, so like some of these, so I generated these with AI. So some of them are like kind of stupid, like, oh, earn the required achievement. Really? That's what I have to do to get this? So we'll have to go in and tweak these. But at least the vast majority, it's out there and correct. The kind of fun thing I wanted to implement was this idea of, well, like, what are the super rare achievements? So there's this slider here that you can move around, so you can get to the ones that are like mythic rare, right? So these are looking at all of them that have been earned at most 20 times. So these are the ones that, like, if you're a boom aficionado, that you could go for because they've not been earned very many times. You could even see, well, what ones have never been earned? And go for theirs. You can be the first one to get an unobtainium in pairs throw and go. For people who put on events, the score sheet generator is still here. It does it much faster. The interface is exactly the same. That'll probably be improved here in a little bit, but at least that functionality is there. Let me talk about the security for a little bit. So I'll actually log out completely here. So when you log in, you have some options. There's signing in with Google. There's the email one-time password. So you put in your email address and then you get like a 6-digit number emailed to you and you put that in. That's still an option. A new one is the concept of a pass key. So I've already associated a pass key with my account. So this should work. So now it's going to prompt and say, use your fingerprint. Oh, maybe I used the wrong one. So this is my local development environment, so it's a little wonky. Maybe it's the second one. Okay, yeah, I'll do it on the staging, the actual public site in a minute. But when you do log in, what you can do if you want that access where you can just use your finger, or if you're on a phone, it uses your face, depending on what your device is. I know Android has an equivalent. I'm just not sure what it is. What you can do is once you've logged in, you won't see a passkey here. In fact, I can delete this. And then you can say add a passkey, and then it will come up and say, okay, do whatever, like look at your phone or put your fingerprint in, and then it will associate that. And now in the future, you can just do that as the way to log into your account.
Good. Maybe, hopefully, I don't get any emails that say I don't remember which finger I used to log to the UpDog site.
Well, so there's always the email one-time password. And also, as part of migrating the data over, I merged any accounts that shared the same email address. So
Great.
those cases where people would like do the one-time password through email, and then it'd show them like, well, hey, use this code for this account and this code for this account. Now they're all already merged, so that you shouldn't even see that.
Fantastic.
So unless you've forgotten what email address you used to create your account, which I don't even know how you do that, you'll be able to get in. And I guess worst case, you can email Kat or the help email and say, hey, this is who I am. I don't remember what email address I used, and we can look it up.
Oh, they do that all the time, but at least now there'll only be one.
Yes, yeah. You can also associate multiple email addresses as well. So this is really only if you're in that position where you use several email addresses for different websites and you want to add them all here, so you aren't in that position of you couldn't remember. You can do that, and then basically when you're logging in, if you do the email one-time password, you can put in any of the email addresses that you have associated, and they'll log into your single account.
All right.
All right, so
Can you show us
let's go
registration?
to the registration. So let me impersonate Heidi again. So what you'll see here is when registration opens. So just for this purposes, I actually had it set earlier. But when it actually opens, it'll say, hey, you have 3 qualified teams, register now. And now we've got this nice like wizard experience that's multi-step instead of the old way, which is just like one huge form. And this actually, again, is designed to work really well on mobile and tablet devices. So this is the same thing, like you have to acknowledge all of these policies. Then you get to see all of the competitors that you could register. So Heidi doesn't have a kid or a husband or a significant other that is on their account or shared dogs with anyone. So this one's really simple. But some people, they might have 3 to 6 people here that they may not want to register for everyone. So you get to pick and choose. And what it does is it adds a step into the wizard here. So if I added 3 people, you would see 3 more steps go into here. And that's just showing you hey, there's 32 runs that she qualified for, and 5 of them are guaranteed because they were an invite. So we can go on to the next step, and that's where now we see, okay, for Heidi, we get to pick her shirt size. Does she want a premium players pack or not? We default that to yes. For the invited runs, you're guaranteed to get these. But you do have to acknowledge that you want to take them. So you just come in and click on them. And then for the qualified runs, these are the ones that you need to prioritize based on the ones that you want the most be higher in the list, and the ones that you care less about lower in the list. Because if we do get space constrained, and Kat isn't able to do her cat magic and make it all fit somehow, Um,
Got fancy.
you're not going to get every run that you click. We will try to allocate them from top down. So if you have a lot of teams like this, what I recommend is first go in and pick the ones that you want. And again, if it's a game that requires a jump height, you have to pick that.
It requires you to? Like it won't let you go on without it? Awesome.
Correct. Now it does default to 12 inches, so if they don't do anything, like that could be a problem. But we can talk about that offline.
Yeah.
So at this point, it's way easier to like pick the ones you want, go to the next step, and then go back, and they'll all be moved to the top. And then it's just dragging and dropping. So if she wanted this throw and go with kilt to be at the top, and this one to be at the bottom, and this one to be here, and like this is the order that she wants, and you can see it reflected in the numbers here. Like this is how we will try to allocate them, and then move on to the next step. So now there's a step here just about volunteering. So like, yes, I would like to volunteer. Again, if there's multiple competitors, you can select them independently. So Heidi's going to volunteer. We do ask that you put in an email address again, just so we can make sure that it's the correct one to reach you at. The days that you can volunteer, the things that you're willing to do. Are you available for multiple shifts? That's kind of similar to how it always worked. A new feature here is that you can add a non-competitor that wants to volunteer. So if you have a family member or a friend that's coming with you that doesn't play, but they're here to cheer you on and they want to volunteer, you can add them.
That's very cool. This whole process looks a lot simpler, much more streamlined.
Yeah, I hope it is. It's always hit or miss, right? Like literally every single UpDiff, no matter what the UI experience was, there's always a group of people that's like easiest registration yet, so intuitive, and then there's the people who are like, I don't even know what I'm doing at all. This sucks. So I'm not optimistic that it's gonna be every single person that uses it loves it, but I think this is literally the easiest I could absolutely possibly make it. And then the final step before you review things and submit is like, do you want any extra shirts? So you can say, hey, I want an extra shirt. I want a large. I want 2 larges. I want a small. The banquets. So these are, don't pay attention to these. We have to change the description, but this is just generally how it's going to work. Say, hey, I want to add a banquet ticket. Kat will explain this probably in the post about the we need to get a idea of how many people will want to go to some of these before we can actually figure out what they're going to be. But the overall way that this works will stay the same. Like, so the option is I intend to go, and we're not charging you for it, but we do also want to know, like, are you looking for a vegan meal? Is this a child? And then you would repeat this for every ticket that you want. So each one of these represents a person going. And then when it comes to like something where there's actual meals, and again, this is just test data. Like, so we have like 2 options, right? A succulent Chinese meal.
I'm curious what they're serving as the succulent Chinese meal.
Only truly online people will. And then I want, of course, the dairy-free version of the eggplant parm. And then the only other bit of information we absolutely require is a phone number, just in case we need to get a hold of people urgently. We, of course, would love it if you would share where you're staying, when you're arriving, and any other special accommodation needs, and share any other dietary notes, etc., so we can take those into account. And then now it's the final like review. You've acknowledged all the policies. These are all the runs. If you had multiple competitors, you would see this essentially duplicated. You'd see another competitor, all their runs. The
I like that it
volunteering.
numbers them.
What was that?
I like that it numbers them so you can like verify, oh, yep, that is exactly the order that I wanted. Like they have one more chance to make sure everything's there and that it's in the order that they want.
Yeah, exactly. And there, in past updifs, I think even just the last one, there was a bug that would sometimes affect people, and I think it was only certain browsers um, that it would wipe out their sort if they went back. I've tested it heavily. That absolutely should not happen. But again, like this is your last chance to make sure this is exactly what you want. Reviewing the extra shirts and banquets, and then the final like math on what you owe. And again, like splitting out the first run. If there's multiple so like if you had 3 competitors you're registering, it would show first run times 3 and $90, and then additional runs are all at $15. And
Makes
just to be
sense.
and just to be clear, because I remember there was a post about this, it's the first run for the handler, not the team. And then you can, so just to be clear, every time you're moving back and forth, it's saving a draft version of this. So you could totally leave, come back. If you entered a bunch of stuff here and you don't even want to go forwards or backwards, you can click this save draft, and you see here in the lower left, like last saved, and it shows you the exact time. So you know, yes, this is saved. I'm good to go. So you don't have to submit until, I mean, you have to submit and before the deadline, but you can like go and fill out a draft version and then come back later and tweak it, and everything will be saved. When you submit, that just means like, hey, this is submitted. An email's gonna go out having all of this information in it, not only to you but to us as like a backup copy in case something crazy does happen with the team site. And you can come back at any time and edit it again and update the submission. But essentially, that by clicking that button, that means like you intend to go through with it. We'll allocate runs based on you attending, etc. Um,
Right. So don't go in there and put in a bunch of fake stuff because you want to play with it. Make sure that you're only going through and adding teams that you actually want to add because that sends information to.
yeah, don't like if you're just playing around, don't submit it until you've got it where you want it. And then you can also just come in and cancel. So if you're like, I decided against it, I'm gonna cancel. You can do that. That deletes it. And again, you can cancel and then come back and redo it. But it's just when that clock hits the time when the registration window closes, everything that's been submitted is what we're going to take into account. Like that's your last chance to cancel or edit or whatever. But whatever is submitted when that window of time closes is what we're going to use in the next step to figure out how to allocate all the runs.
And so that total that they're seeing is the total if they get everything, but it could be less because they may not get everything.
And that's why, so yeah, so for people who haven't gone through this process, that's why we break up like registration. Then there's a few days for us to figure out can we make everyone's dreams come true and they get everything they asked for, or do we have to do some sort of rationing of runs and allocation logic? And then you pay in a second step.
And if you don't pay on time, you lose your runs, like you lose your registration.
Yeah. And this shows you the 2 windows, right? So registration opens tomorrow at noon, closes right before midnight on the 27th, and then payment opens noon on the 31st and closes right before midnight on February 2nd. So you have to pay within this window if you want to go.
Cool.
Yeah, that looks great, Brian.
And then just to touch, like I was saying before, like one of the reasons for wanting to finally do this was to be able to implement a lot of functionality that we've always talked about. I've just never had the time. Like I've got a very busy day job that keeps me from doing a lot of this kind of stuff that I would love to do. But having it at least be a more modern tech stack, I'm able to do it more quickly, able to utilize like AI coding tools like Claude Code, maybe able to get some other folks who want to help and know technology like Next.js and React and TypeScript and Postgres. If you know what any of those words mean and are interested in helping, please reach out.
Following right along, sir.
But things like a way to search for upcoming events and a portal for clubs to put in like enter event information, be able to have like a unified registration system too. So any Updog events that anyone puts on, they can opt in to use our registration system versus everyone doing their own thing with Cogito forms or whatever. So stuff like that is what's intended to come soon. So yeah,
And
that's it for me.
should work with the scoring app too, right?
Yeah, correct. So it'll be a lot easier to get the last little integration with the Android scoring app done, and maybe a couple other integrations with other systems that we were talking about.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you, Bryan. I think people will find this very exciting. I hope they do. I do. I already see all kinds of cool things that I've been wanting, and now I have. So I'm happy.
It's not all about you, Kat.
Yeah, kind of is.
It looks like a much simpler registration process. It looks like it's a lot easier to search our profiles and use that data. From when I've gone in it before, this definitely looks much more modern and cleaner and easier to use. So I'm very excited about this. And this is rolling out when?
Tomorrow by noon.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting.
May get done tonight. May get done at 11:30 tomorrow. I don't know yet, but
Well,
by
thank
noon
you.
tomorrow.
Thank you very much. We're excited.
But
Thanks, Bryan.
see you guys later.
All right. Thanks, Bryan.
Hey,
All right, guys. That was exciting. I hope that you enjoyed that as much as we did. Tell your friends to check it out so that they're not surprised when they pop on tomorrow.
And see a completely different registration process, right? It's going to look
Right.
totally different. So hopefully they're checking in. We can post it on the Updog discussion page so everybody will see that. Share it with, well, I don't think you can share from the group, but you can always take a screenshot of it and share on your profile. Just send everybody to the group so they can watch the update before registration tomorrow. And we are super excited. UPDIF 2026 is actually it's starting for everybody else tomorrow. It's been going for us for a while. So we're excited for you guys to jump in with us. And in the meantime,
be kind to each other.
and be
Kat,
kind to your dogs.
Thanking you for thanking me.
What up, dog?
all right.
I don't know what that means yet.
Bye, everyone.
Ready, set, go! Yo, you heard the buzz, heard the word on the street. Up dog challenge, it can't be beat. It ain't just fetch, it's a very special game for the dogs and the people. We all shout its name, whether it's a roller or in the air. My canine companion doesn't really care. We're in the up dog zone now. Got that laser focus, making every throw an epic high flying bonus. What's up, dog? We're on the field, sun in the sky, with my best friend soaring, teaching that just to fly. It's the up dog jingle, so come get in the mix for the ultimate teamwork and all the best tricks. From throw and go to freestyle, we're bringing the heat. We're fun, helpful, and a friendly team that can't be beat. So if you love your pup and you love to see the disc really spin, come on down to Up Dog, where the good times begin.
Yeah, where the good times begin.